Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Once again, this is Candidato Sir Mangandog, your instructor under Juvenile Delinquency and Juvenile Justice System. Previously, we have discussed about the uh, process on the investigation on the custody of a child in conflict with law or what we call CICL, kung paano sila i-treat, ano yung proseso, ano yung mga dapat steps na gagawin sa pamamalagi nila sa custody, sino-sino yung involved, halimbawa na makikipag-interact, magtatanong dun sa bata, for example, the WCPD or any officer who has a knowledge on the investigation proceedings regarding children in conflict with law. So, ngayon, we are going to tackle the terminologies, definition of terms, for us to know how we can have a magic words, keywords to be used or to be utilized during the board examination. As we all know, the definition can still be as is, parati mananatili yung definition niya, pero may mga keywords at saka magic words yung tinatawag natin na sila yung parating makikita nyo sa definition ng isang uh, term. Okay. So what is community-based program? So it refers to the programs provided in a community setting developed for purposes of intervention. Take note of the intervention and diversion. So sila yung hahawak doon sa bata for the street children or doon sa children in conflict with the law to give o kaya lapatan sila ng magandang intervention, diversion o kaya rehabilitation for them to be reintegrate into their family and or the community. Okay, what is deprivation of liberty? The term deprivation of liberty, as we all know, ito yung tatanggalin mo ng karapatan yung bata na gawin kung ano yung mga gusto niyang gawin. So, there is a word, term na ginagamit for us to uh, uh, impose punishment, which is hindi naman talaga siya sa form of punishment, which is a uh, intervention. Sabi na natin, a form of detention of imprisonment or to the placement of a child in conflict with the law in a public or private custodial setting from which the CICL is not permitted to leave at will by order of any judicial or administrative authority. Of course, this CICL, these children who are in conflict with law uh, will be deprived of liberty uh, by order of any judicial or administrative authority. So always remember this, judicial or administrative authority. So doon pa lang malalaman natin na pwede pa lang i-deprive yung mga kabataan na kung saan nakakapinsala sa komunidad ng liberty. So yun yung definition of term. O diversion, always remember kahit ito lang, refers to an alternative, child-appropriate process of determining the responsibility and treatment of a CICL on the basis of her social, cultural, economic, psychological, or educational background without resorting to formal court proceedings. So the key term is it is an alternative. So ang basis natin is for social, cultural, economic, psychological, or educational background. So, hindi na, without resorting, hindi siya magre-resort to formal court proceedings. So, makikita niyo yung definition. So, diversion program refers to the program that the CICL is required to undergo after she is found responsible for an offense without resorting to formal court proceedings. So, may pagkakatulad pero ito yung program. So, ang ibig sabihin nito is kapag nakita niyo ang word na program, which ang CICL will undergo an intervention. So, when they are found responsible for an offense, so the word is diversion program. Okay, receptive and study center. So, meron dito ang sinasabing receptive and study center. It is an institution that receives for study, diagnosis, and temporary treatment of children who have behavioral problems for the purpose of determining the appropriate care for them or recommending their permanent treatment or rehabilitation. So, when you heard the word reception and study center, it involves the study, hindi lamang study, diagnosis and temporary treatment of children for those who have a behavioral problem. So, inaalagaan dito, pinapag-aral halimbawa, para matuto sa buhay. So, ang term is reception and study center. So, child placing agency. As you can see, there are terminologies can be used for us to know what are those uh, processes involved in the care of a person or of a child in custody. So, child placing agency, an institution or person assuming the care, custody, protection, and maintenance for placement of any child. So, meron tayong sinasabing child placing agency. So, ito yung sila yung institution kung saan silang mag-aalaga, mangangalaga sa custody, protection, and maintenance for placement of any child. So, uh, yan yung term na ginagamit ng child placing agency. Youth associations refers to any club, organization, or association of individuals below 21 years of age. So the key terms to be remembered is below 21 years of age, which is directly or indirectly involved in carrying out child or youth welfare programs and activities. So meron tayong sinasabing youth association. So, samahan refers to the aggregate of persons working in commercial, industrial, and agricultural establishment or enterprise, whether belonging to labor or management. So, makikita ninyo, meron tayong keyword na working in commercial, industrial, and agricultural establishment or enterprise. So, yan ang ibig sabihin ng samahan. So, civic association refers to any club, organization, or association of individual 21 years of age, okay, pakinggan, or over. So, ang kanina is below 21 years of age, o below, pababa, pero itong civic association is 21 years of age or over, so pataas, which is directly or indirectly involved in carrying out child welfare programs and activities. So, yung makikita nyo kung ang kaibahan ng youth association sa civic association. So, dependent child. So, one who is without parents, guardian or custodian, or one whose parents, guardian, or other custodian for good cause desire to be relieved of his, her, and custody and is dependent upon the public or support. So, ang ibig sabihin nito is those who are children who can stand alone without the help of anyone. For example, wala silang magulang, guardian, custodian. So, gusto nilang lumabas sa pangangalaga ng isang ng kanilang magulang or custody or anyone. So, they are considered a dependent child. So, neglected child, one whose basic needs have been deliberately unattended or inadequately attended. So, dati, na-discuss naman na natin ito. So, ang neglected child is yung in layman's term, so, yung basic needs niya is not have been deliberately unattended or inadequately attended. So, kulang, it's either kulang or wala talagang basic needs na binibigay sa kanya. So, physical neglect. So, there is also a term which is physical neglect. Ito naman is, for example, a child is malnourished, ill-clad, and without proper shelter. So, doon pa lang is, doon lang is, child is malnourished, hindi siya pinapakain na maayos, hindi maganda yung pangangatawan niya, halimbawa, yung appearance niya, and wala siyang shelter, wala siyang natutulugan. So, yun yung neglect. So, kaibahan. So, sa emotional neglect, these are children are maltreated, including also maltreated, raped, or seduced when children are exploited, overworked, or made to work under conditions not conducive to good health. So, emotional neglect. Okay, mentally retarded children. So, ito yung sinasabi nating are socially incompetent, socially, yung sabi nating special children. So, sila yung mga tao na mga bata na they have a mentally subnormal, retarded intellectually from birth or early age, retarded at maturity, mentally represent hereditary or disease, essentially incurable. So ibig sabihin yung mga batang hindi uh, uh, mga bata which are mentally retarded, for example, hindi maganda yung uh, pag-iisip nila. For example, hindi sila uh, physically, hindi nila nagagamit yung pangangatawan nila, yung some parts of their body, or kaya yung utak nila, for example. So the term is mentally, yung utak mismo. Halimbawa, hindi sila sabi natin na immature. So pagkapanganak pa lang is immature, hindi na maganda yung kanyang kagigisnan na buhay dahil hindi ma-develop yung kanyang brain. Okay. Classification of mental retardation. So there are classification. Number one is custodial group. So severely retarded, the least capable group. So sa custodial group, lahat ng bata na hindi talaga ma-cure, not curable, o kaya severely retarded. So sa custodial group. Sa trainable group, unable to acquire high academic skills but can usually acquire the basic skills for living to a reasonable degree. So example, yung may mga bata na special children, halimbawa, hindi sila makakita ng maayos, o kaya hindi pa well develop yung utak nila, kailangan pa silang turuan sa mga bagay-bagay sa mundo. Sa trainable group. So educational group, the degree of success or accomplishment that they will reach in life depends very much on the quality and type of education they receive, as well as treatment at home and in the community. So kung ano lang yung instill, kung ano lang yung impart sa kanila, so yun lang yung matututunan nila. So yun sa educational group. So borderline or low normal group, they can usually get by an irregular classes. If they receive some extra help, they have to spend much more time with their studies than do most students in order to pass. So ang kaibahan ng itong sabi natin borderline or low group, normal group, may mga bata kasi na kahit na hindi yan nag-aaral pero mabilis siya makasaulo, mabilis niyang nakakatch up yung tinuturo sa kanya. So ito sa borderline, ito yung kailangan pa nilang mag-exert ng more efforts para matuto sila, masaulo nila yung mga tinuturo sa kanila. So ito yung number 4. So physically handicapped children. So meron dito yung physically handicapped children, those who are crippled, deaf, mute, blind, or otherwise defective which restrict their means of action and communication with others. So handicap, ito yung sinasabi natin mga bata na pwedeng hindi sila bingi, pipi, bulag. So kaya hindi makapaglakad na maayos. So physically handicapped children. Okay, emotionally disturbed children. So those who, although not afflicted with insanity or mental, sinasabi natin depressed. So emotional. So ibig sabihin, halimbawa produkto siya ng maltreatment, halimbawa abuse ng family, okay, ng father, okay, ng kung nino man. So they can be categorized under emotionally disturbed children. So meron tayong prevention and control of juvenile delinquency. Excuse me. In order to prevent juvenile delinquency, we have to deal not only with maladjusted children and youths whose difficulties bring them before law, but also with those who, while not violating laws, are disturbing others in school and the state. So yon, kailangan nating pakiusapan sila, stop sila, i-hinder kung ano man yung mga gusto nilang gawin which is hindi maganda sa kanilang kapaligiran.